those of you who may have disagreed with a district decision this year, I ask you to keep engaging with us. If we're going to keep improving, we need to hear from as many different voices as possible.
Give me the right to be a human being. I'm fine with that right. Now you can keep me from having that if you've got all the policemen and all the jobs on your side.
Hello friends and fellow human beings, and thank you for joining me for this video, which is part 3 in this series highlighting Spokane Public Schools District number 81. In the first 2 videos, I was denied access to the meeting room where the school board holds its meetings in a building and room that is open to the public in violation of Washington State Public Meetings Code and the school board's own policy, which I'll get into a little later. Links to these other videos where I have documented the suppression of alternate views by the district and its officials because they fear repercussions from King Inslee and Olympia, as well as all of my sources, are listed in the description below. These ruling class officials don't fear the people they are ruling over because we're compliant with our oppression. Most people I talk to don't want to upset the ruling class that is removing their freedom every day. Most don't even want to hear the idea that we aren't free. They just want to comply with this system designed to keep us enslaved to the predator class among us. Because the previous 2 meetings I was denied access to the meeting room with force from corporate policy enforcers of the district, I had a different game plan for this meeting. I decided not to interact with anyone, but instead just go straight into the boardroom. Apparently me documenting and pointing out how the district and its enforcers are violating my freedom without any code that allows them to use force on me had some impact. I had also already requested the surety bond for the security agents at this point, so the district is now on to what I'm trying to accomplish. I think this maybe had something to do with the reception I received for this meeting as compared to the previous 2. On this night, which was December 15th, there was only one visible security or policy enforcement agent in the building. He was behind a desk and said nothing when myself and my maskless friend walked into the door and straight into the meeting room. What do you think will happen when the meeting starts? Will the board continue to violate law and its own policy? Or will they relent and allow freedom in this supposed land of the free?
Public Schools Board of Directors. First, I want to start out with some meeting logistics. We have members attending of the public, both in person and virtually tonight. Thank you for those of you who have chosen to attend either way. And per state mandate, we do follow the statewide mask requirement. And I do see that there are a couple gentlemen who are not masked. I would like to ask you if you would kindly be able to wear a mask tonight.
I cannot.
You are not. Could I ask you to attend the meeting from the adjoining room?
Where's the adjoining room?
The restroom?
No, there's a little hallway there where we can show the video and you can hear the audio out there.
Why would I go out there?
Because we were following a statewide mask requirement for indoor gatherings on school sites.
Yeah, you guys are following it. That's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So because of that, I'd like to motion to adjourn to a virtual only meeting.
Yeah, I can make a motion to adjourn to a virtual meeting to follow the guidance.
Second.
Guys, I was really hoping to be able to speak in person tonight. You wouldn't mind either masking or stepping up for those of us who want to speak.
Well, but they're breaking their rules, not me.
But
the end result is that those of us who want to speak in person
You
will
should
be
be
able
upset
to.
with them, not me. They're breaking their own
I'm
policy.
upset with anyone.
Well, they're breaking their policy. I'm not doing anything wrong, man. You should talk to them, not me. I didn't do anything wrong.
It's not a question of doing anything right or wrong. It's just what's going to happen.
So why are they closing it down? That's wrong.
But they're going to because they can.
It's against their policy.
But it's what's going to happen anyway. I mean,
So you're okay with tyranny?
it's not a question of being okay with it. I just was hoping to be able to.
Well, it seems like you're okay with it. I'm not asking. I have to stop this here. First off, this lady is part of the problem. She just wants to voice her opinion, thinking she will be heard. I mean, let's get real. If you think after 2 years of this pandemic stuff, officials of the ruling or predator class really care about what you think, it's time to wake up. Yes, there have been some temporary reprieves from some of the tyranny, but they have not changed anything that is happening. At best, they have just slowed things down a little. And this seems to convince all the alleged freedom-loving Americans to go back to being slaves of the central bankster's fiat currency while pretending they are free, thinking if they just wave the red, white, and blue wartime magic skycloth representing the corporation that oppresses them, they live in a free country. The problem is, this woman seems to think it's okay to remove my freedom and have the board violate their own rules of governance and state law so she can speak in person. She should be upset at the board for taking away mine and her freedom to experience the meetings as the law intended, which is in person and with no restrictions on attendance. This is also a violation of their own policy, which mirrors Washington state code on this issue. And this is why I live by nature's law rather than man's. Man's law is constantly ignored by those in power with the monopolized force of the state to back them, while it is enforced on the people who don't have a standing army to back them up.
Can I ask what the disruption was? Can I ask what the disruption was that you guys adjourned this? Because according to your policy, there has to be a disorderly disruption. I didn't see that. No? So you guys are breaking your own policy? Okay.
I'm stopping this again already because this is very important to address. If you believe government is necessary, or even a necessary evil, then it would be a good idea to start learning the policies that govern over the ruling class. This is the only way to even attempt to keep them in check. They have been told they have authority over our lives, but this is not true. Someone else only has authority over you if you give that authority over to them. Not one living thing in this world comes to be with anything other than nature having authority over it. One must either defend the freedom they are born with in order to keep it, or predators will take it by force. With that said, here is the lawful reason the board may adjourn the meeting like they just did, according to Revised Code of Washington, also known as an RCW. In the event that any meeting is interrupted by a group or groups of persons so as to render the orderly conduct of such meeting unfeasible and order cannot be restored by the removal of individuals who are interrupting the meeting, the members of the governing body conducting the meeting may order the meeting room cleared and continue in session, or may adjourn the meeting and reconvene at another location selected by majority vote of the members. In such a session, final disposition may be taken only on matters appearing on the agenda. Representatives of the press or other news media, except those participating in the disturbance, shall be allowed to attend any session held pursuant to this section. Nothing in this section shall prohibit the governing body from establishing a procedure for readmitting an individual or individuals not responsible for disturbing the orderly conduct of the meeting. The school board's own policy mirrors this RCW almost word for word and is visible on the screen right now. And I do want to point out a couple more things before I get back to the footage of the meeting. First, the mandate from King Inslee says we aren't supposed to be in the building without masks. If the board is actually following the mandate and is doing so out of concern for public health, then why would they allow us to stay in the room? This is highly contradictory to the reasoning we are told King Inslee issued the state of emergency and mandate. And this brings me to my second point. According to RCW 42.30.070, which regulates times and places for meetings and exceptions to these rules, even including emergencies, states, if by reason of fire, flood, earthquake, or other emergency, there is a need for expedited action by a governing body to meet the emergency, the presiding officer of the governing body may provide for a meeting site other than the regular meeting site, and the notice requirements of this chapter shall be suspended during such emergency. Notice how it said place? Virtual-only meetings are not a physical place. There's no address for us to locate and attend. And what if you don't have access to the internet or a computer? Also, it doesn't state the open meetings can be changed because of a declared emergency, only for an actual emergency. They are two completely different things. One is the opinion of a few unelected officials that are then used to create a declaration by the king. The other is an event that actually makes people restrict their own freedom out of fear or danger. You know, something tangible rather than something we are just told is an emergency and supported with propaganda from the state in order to control us. I'm also pretty sure emergencies don't last for 2 years.
Okay, so, school board is going to be served to a virtual only format, so they're going to go where only voice cares. Folks who want to comment will join.
Yeah, I'll walk anybody through.
You join it through our website.
Sounds like you can still make your comment.
Something that your phone, are you able to raise it on a web browser with your phone? Okay. You would go to our.
They just broke their own rules.
Website. Go to the school
We documented
page,
it.
And there's a link.
So all the people that were going to comment just leave? We can still get our
The
comments.
meeting itself is recorded, but in
Yeah.
order to comment,
Well, I mean,
you'd have to be on.
I don't know what comment it is.
SpokaneSchools.org.
You can.
You know where to find it out.
So I'm just curious,
Let me know.
do you guys
Thank
have an
you.
enforceable code that says I have to wear a mask?
Yeah, you're with a Spokane School. Can I help you
No?
there? Spokane School.
Huh. Interesting.
Well, it's when they're shut.
And then there should be.
I mean, that's what Tatiana said they do. That's what they've done in the past.
Yeah, they just broke their own rules.
Yeah,
Now it's game on.
yeah.
I'll do a records request tonight for their surety bonds and we'll file suits against them. So this is how ridiculous it is. I just want to make sure that I'm clear. Like, we can stay in here.
They didn't have security remove you, so
No, they
that's.
didn't.
Well, I know, but they just broke their own laws then, right? Their own policy.
No, the meeting's still gonna go on.
No, but they have to be in here for us to give public comment to, according to their own policy. They can't adjourn it like that.
No, they're gonna come back on and you can still make public comment.
That's-
Yeah,
So it's a technical.
but they're not here.
No, they're not.
This is the problem is, see, when they don't get to feel our emotion of the people that are being oppressed, they get to go up into their little office and then it becomes virtual and they don't feel the emotion of the people that they're oppressing. Well, I know it's not his fault, but he's here. He's actually taken money part of it. I mean, he's part of it. He could speak up too and say, hey, I don't want to be part of breaking our own policy. So could this guy. But none of them do. They put their hands on me last time to keep me out of here. That was a violation of policy. There's no enforceable code. Just saying. There has to be a disruption. I read your policy before I came. There has to be a disorderly conduct, some disruption to the meeting. We came in here and sat quietly and peacefully,
And you're filming, you're just not doing
right?
anything.
Didn't do anything wrong. I didn't violate anything in order for them to do that. There has to be something that violates the conduct of this meeting in order for them to do what they did, per their own policy. And by you allowing them to do that and continuing on with the audio-visual, you're allowing it to happen.
No,
So
I'm
you're
not
part of
doing
it.
my job.
Yeah, your job is to be part of it. Part of the oppression of our society,
That's
the freedom.
exactly what it is. You are absolutely correct.
That is. I know. Thank you.
Thank you again for supporting my channel. Just by watching my content, you are supporting my work. However, if you want to support me in other ways, sign up on censorship-fighting YouTube alternatives like LBRY, which uses Odyssey for its video platform, or Hive. Use the links in the description to earn yourself some decentralized crypto for getting started. There are non-cryptocurrency platforms as well, but you might as well get something of value in return for your support of your favorite content creators. Links to all of the platforms you can find Questionable Authority on are in the description. And don't forget to check out the Questionable Authority merchandise store.